Hmm? All right, everyone, sorry about that. I think my comms were a little bit off. We still have our amazing swimming elephants who are just busy getting out of the water. But I don't think that they're quite done yet. All these young males. It's a very warm day and I think they're having too much fun. The hippos are not very impressed with anything that's going on right now. All right, everyone there at Red Bank Elementary and Alton Elementary, I do hope you enjoyed this show. I'm so sorry about the technical difficulties, but what a way to leave us swimming playing elephants and swimming playing hippos. So I hope you all have a good day and maybe we'll see you again sometime soon. Welcome everyone, welcome to this very, very special unscheduled broadcast. I am coming to you live from South Africa, from Chitwa Dam. My name is Noelle van Moden, and on camera I've got Davi. How's it, Davi? And we are busy here with some swimming male elephants inside of the dam on this very warm day. Now don't forget, because we are live and interactive, from whatever platform you're watching, you can send us through questions and they will come through to the directors and the directors will put them in my ear. And then I can answer you. It's the whole fun part about this. You are with me on safari right now from wherever in the world you're currently sitting. Maybe you're at work, maybe you're at home. Now these elephants are swimming for a couple of reasons. One, as I said before, it's very warm. And then the other reason is because they just really enjoy it. And these 4 male elephants are also doing a little bit of dominant, submissive behavior. So just trying to work out who's who in the zoo and who's bigger than who in the zoo. Now they're doing this right next to a couple of pods of hippos, and these hippos are not overly thrilled at the antics of these elephants. They're just over there to the right-hand side, and every now and then the hippos ignore them, like they're doing a little bit now, and then they'll turn around and splash and splatter dung everywhere and put up a good show of saying, "Go away, elephants, go away," and the elephants, of course, ignore them completely and carry on doing exactly what they're doing. Now, can we hear the swimming of the elephants? The water splashing? It seems as if you all can hear it indeed. Now, where they are right now, they can stand, you can see that, and where they were a little bit earlier was much deeper, and they were rolling around and pushing each other down in the water. This reminds me quite a bit of when I was a kid. We used to go to the beach, all of us from the neighborhood would go to the beach, to the lake, and swim around, and the older kids would always wrestle in the water and throw each other. This is pretty much what's happening here. Lots of older teenagers to younger 20-year-old elephants pushing each other around. Charles, very interesting question. You're wondering how much water do elephants drink in a day? Well, Charles, on a very hot day, they're probably going to do upwards of 100 liters, so they can fit about 10 liters of water inside their trunk, a big male elephant at one time. Smaller elephants will be a smaller amount, and they'll come to the water and they might suck up anywhere from 5 to 10 times, and they'll do that on a hot day 2 or 3 times a day. So everyone, welcome back. Sorry about the gremlins, not quite sure what they're up to today, but our Ellies are still swimming and you're back with us now. So welcome to everyone, and then to anyone that was watching the unscheduled broadcast, if you managed to then find us over on the YouTube, hello, welcome back. We're here twice a day. All right, everybody, swimming with elephants. I actually would like to move a little bit farther forward just because they've moved a bit, and I want to just get a little bit closer to the action. And then I've just spotted one of our huge crocodiles, so I want to get a little bit of a different angle. Give me 2 shakes of a lamb's tail, or an elephant's tail we should say rather. And the sun has come out, the clouds have gone away, so the temperature's just increased by about, feels like. Here we go, this is wonderful. Listen to that. Hello, James Richard. And yes, James, you are correct. Swimming Ellies does make for a good feel-good sighting. Now, I'm just going to have Davi pan away a little bit from the Ellies. I just want to show you the huge croc that's out on the bank at our sort of 2 o'clock, right on that little island far in the distance there in front of Chitwa Lodge. Huge crocodile, that big female, sunning herself, mouth open, using her gular flap to regulate her temperature. For those crocodile lovers out there, then don't worry, we'll get right back to our elephants, who now that I've moved have decided to go back the other way, but that's okay. Davi's on a little swivel seat at the back, so he's fine. He's going to keep panning around as much as we possibly need. Now, the other vehicle that I was busy tracking leopard with is also here with us. So I'm assuming that the tracks that we had to leave are heading in this general direction, down towards the dam, or possibly the inflow, or possibly Hassana's hunt. Now, it was a female that we were tracking, and so it could be Kachava, but we'll have to wait and see until we get a little bit more information. Oh, that breeze is coming through again nicely. For any of you that were watching this morning, this is the spot that we were filming from the opposite side where the little ones were having trouble getting out of the water. These males will have no problem getting out, and they are going to keep roughhousing and playing around in this beautiful dam. And while they are doing that, let's take a bit of a break from them and head on over to Scotty D, who's having some fun with our drone.
We certainly are. You can see it hovering just ahead of us, and we're about to send it up into the skies and see what we can see. Seb's just swiveling it around. Hello everyone, off you go, have fun. What a cool machine. There's a bit of a tree above Seb there, so he had to do a fancy move to get it up and away without getting tangled in any branch. Wonderful stuff. Seb, happy to keep driving slowly? We're going to test Seb's skills and drive along and see how well he can track us, as well as just do his bits as he flies about. Wonderful stuff. That's a new addition to the Safari Live toy box, but it's one that we don't use that much, so really enjoy having it out and on the vehicles again, so we can see how it operates and just learn how to incorporate it better into the safaris. Okay, well, somebody says it sounds like a lawnmower. It sounds, yeah, just like a lawnmower. And that's not James, whoever that could be. Must be related to Not Barbara, or the Not family. Very good. Now, we haven't had any luck as we've been searching for leopards, so we thought it would be a good time to just send up the drone while it's still quite hot. And like I said, let Seb practice his skills. He's a fairly newly qualified drone pilot. He down to Durban, one of the cities on the east coast of South Africa, and did a drone pilot's course there, so he's official. He's an official drone pilot. And you'll be happy to know that even though we can't find any leopards here down in South Africa, Ralph up in the Mara has had some luck with one of the other big cats. Why don't you go and see which one it is?
Thank you. Yes, well, we've just come back to these female lions that were lying in the shade a little bit a while ago, but it seems they're even too lazy to move off into the shade. And a very enjoyable sleep, it seems. We did have a look and see if we could possibly see those musketeers, but they're really lying up in the thickets, and pretty much like this, but at least these females are a little bit out in the open and we can actually see them. So I wasn't going to sit and wait just with a tuft of hair coming out of the back of a bush. We thought they would come over here and sit with these females and see if they give us any joy, maybe by rolling over or flicking their tails or even lifting and looking maybe towards us or over the plains. Starting to cool down a little bit now, so there's a little bit of potential that they might wake up and do a bit of stretching, yawning, maybe even move on over towards the males. I'm not holding my breath because they do have a little bit in the belly, it seems. They're not rotund, they're not massively fat from gorging themselves, but it does seem like they have had something to eat quite recently. So my feeling is that they're not going to be getting up anytime soon. It's cooling down, but it is still quite warm. Even though they're lying in the sun, they haven't moved off into the shade. The potential of these lions doing something. Vincent, thanks for your comment and saying that you love when the lions lie on their back with their feet up. There is something very particular about how well lions relax and lie around. It has to be said that they're probably one of the best at it out there, and when they are lying on their backs, it always looks wonderful and so relaxed. Well, it seems not much is going to happen here, so I might move on shortly. And while we do that, I want to send you back down on south to Noel with swimming elephants.
We have some swimming, not so swimming elephants. They're getting in and out. They're deciding to take a little bit of a rest break and have a snack. These older teenagers. They've used up a lot of their energy. So we have 3 just in front of us here, and then we have one who's just off to our side this way, who looks a little bit older than the other 2, who's busy throwing water on himself after he's been swimming. I really don't know what he's on about. And then just in front of us again, excuse my hat, we've got this little boy who's coming out of the water, and he's basically copying these 2, and then the third one that's behind us, and also showing off to how big he is. Tucker, who's 5 years old, you're wondering if elephants can see underwater like hippos can. Tucker, we were actually chatting about this morning. I was saying I don't quite know. And I'm glad you asked this, because when we were busy watching them just now, I watched a couple of times where the elephants came out of the water and then opened their eyes, and a couple times where they were splashing, going down, and keeping their eyes open. So elephants have eyesight, Tucker, that's very similar to humans, and we can see underwater, but it sometimes hurts our eyes to look with our eyes open, so I think it's very similar for them. I think anything that sort of happens with our eyes is going to be that. So we can see under the lake, but not very well and not for very long. Now everybody's having a snack. Now I have a feeling that during snack time they're going to get a little bit cheeky again, and then get back in. Bobby, you were wondering if elephants use a lot of energy in the water. Bobby, I think yes, but I don't think they use as much as if they were wrestling when it's hot outside, and also because they're mammals and they're covered with a fat layer. They are going to be buoyant inside the water, so it's not as much of a hassle for them to play the way that they were playing inside of there. Again, very similar to humans. I mean, my brothers and I used to roughhouse and throw each other around in the water for hours and hours and hours. From when we were little kids up through being teenagers. I mean, even now in my 30s, if I see my brothers at the lake, they're still going to try and drown me. And again, for hours and hours and hours. And it never feels like it's as much effort as it would be on solid ground, because gravity is not the same in the water. Because that buoyancy. They're going to come right past the car. Can we hear them picking up the grass? Hear them breathing a little bit. Oh, how fantastic. All right, we're going to stick with these bulls a little bit longer. But my dear friend Herbie is on bushwalk, and he hasn't had a chance to say hello yet, as far as I know. So let's go on over to him so that he can tell you about all the amazing things he knows about the flora and fauna of the Sabi Sands.
Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Herbert. With me is my friend James Henry on the camera. Over here, we've came across one of the trees, the Shambok pod, as a naughty boys. Monkey pod. As a naughty boys, we used to visit the monkey pod thickets to get the pods, which are edible. There's lots of animals that will compete for the pods. The humans, the baboons, the monkeys, and some of these birds. They are greenish and tend to be brownish when they are ready to be eaten. So with baboons and monkeys, because they know that they will be competing with other animals, they don't wait for them to get ready. They'll go while they're still greenish. For medicinal purposes, the locals will dig up the roots, boil them, and suck the juice to treat constipation. And that was our monkey pod. And over here, I've got evidence of some zebras. There's lots of signs that will indicate the presence of animals. It's either tracks, or there will be aerial signs, the arboreal signs, and the terrestrial signs. So this is one of the terrestrial signs from the zebra. It's a zebra dropping. Zebra is one of the hindgut fermenters. They've got only one stomach, so the droppings will come out not fully digested. Unlike the ruminants, there's lots of fiber on them. So as you can see here, it's full of sand. There will be other animal species that will wait for other species to drop their dung on the ground, and they'll go to survive, or they'll dig the hole, and start feeding on the dung. As you can see here, and those will be termites. While we're still on this here, I've got evidence of some termites here as well, which are on this branch. They will cover the branch and start feeding on it, and they'll use the sand to cover themselves because they don't want to be exposed on the sun, and also that will be defense against their predators. We will continue searching for some more stuff while we Papi, are there any plants that will help with burns? Yes. I know there's one which is a mother-in-law's tongue. if you get a band in a particular area, what you will do, you will make fire, take the mother-in-law's tongue, put it, you take out the skin, the outside skin, you put it on top of the fire and put the mother-in-law's tongue around the band side and cover it with, either with a rope, which you will be peeling it off from one of the trees, either from the acacia or from the silver cluster leaf. I've got another animal here. Oh, two. One of the beetles. I don't know the species, but I know this is a beetle. Ooh. I think this is a mating pair. Hold it still. Over here. So they use the Waltheria. Oh, there's another insect here. Okay, so lots of animals will, I know the praying mantids like to sit on this one. The crab spider will also come and hide on these Waltherias. So I've never seen these type of beetles, but I will double check with James, who's far experienced than Heavy. I think when you come back to me, I'll give you the right answer. While doing that, I will send you to Scott, who is flying his drone.
Yes, we are still flying a drone since you were last with us. It's been cruising about. We got up and above some impalas for a couple of minutes. They were relaxed with the drone very low down above them, kind of about 5 meters they started looking up at it. So that was interesting to see how relaxed the impala were. Just mentioning to Seb what fun it would be if we were in an area where we could follow wild dogs more closely, because this is the perfect tool to be able to follow wild dogs hunting. Far quicker than us in terms of maneuverability through the bush. So that's something to look forward to one day, possibly. It could happen here, of course. It's just the wild dogs don't come through very often. Very good. Well, you'll be glad to know that Ralph has managed to find animal. So enjoy.
Thanks, Scott, and everybody. We've just been watching a banded mongoose mommy with her little pups. Unfortunately, they've just disappeared back into the termite mound, but with her being there, there's every opportunity they're going to come back and just poke their heads out again. It was lovely seeing them. And there comes one. Just see a little bit of movement there. They are a little bit wary, and so they should be. There we go. So remember, generally with banded mongoose, they do have between 1 and 6 pups. We do call them pups, but on average about 4. And they gain independence nutritionally around, I think it's about 3 months. So that's when they'll stop suckling from their mum, but they also do get left very often with escorts or babysitters, and they do form quite a relationship with one in particular. So whether this is mommy or an escort or babysitter remains to be seen, but I think
what's going on with these gremlins today, but we have more elephants for you. Our bulls have left the dam. They've stopped their swim. It was absolutely magical. And around the corner here, we're gonna have a few more ellies. And then later this afternoon, maybe in the next of 20 minutes, I have a surprise. Oh, and I wanted to give you an update because this isn't the surprise, but Tingana is still under this exact same bush that we had him in this morning. He has not moved hide nor hair. So because he's in the exact same spot that we had him this morning, I'm not going to go to him now. I think I'm going to go to him later, hopefully when he's moving. And then hopefully the surprise will also pan out. But while we're busy waiting for our surprise, elephants are always good. These are two much younger bulls, so I'm assuming that a breeding herd is somewhere around here. I can't hear quite yet, nor see them. But these guys look, the one at the back especially looks a little bit young to be on his own. It's possible that maybe they, because the one that's in front is a little bit older, could possibly be away from the herd now, that the little one just got attached to it, or... Well, all right then. Could you all hear that? I think maybe he's annoyed that he's being trailed by this youngster. This would be similar to your mother telling you to watch your little brother who's 5 or 6, and you're a teenager and you just want to go play with your friends, and you've got to carry him around. My mom used to do that to me. I've got a brother that's 5 years younger than me, and when we were kids playing in the yard, we had to take him around. He would hold onto your one finger. Sarah, interesting question. I'm just going to come around the corner here. Sarah, you'd like to know if the babies would ever take the youngsters for swimming lessons. I haven't seen them take the youngsters for swimming lessons. Oh, they've moved off. Sorry, guys. But what I have seen is I've seen the youngsters trying to mom not being ready yet, and then older siblings and cousins coming and taking the little one and walking up and down the road with it. That I've seen. Sun is warm. It's in my eye. I'm really curious where the rest of this breeding herd is. Just checking around the sides here as we meander towards our surprise. Slowly, slowly meander towards our surprise. And just triple checking for anything that might be around. There was an update of wild dogs not far from here this morning, and I'm hoping that we manage to get them. There's part of the breeding herd. It is not the best shot. Unfortunately, there's a lot of trees in the way, but there we go. So they're deeper into the bushes there. And one of the reasons why we're probably not hearing them is they're probably eating some of what's left of the grass, although I'm surprised that they're eating as much grass as they are because it's getting very dry here. You can see that. So I would actually choose leaves and branches. I'm going to try to go a little bit farther forward. We might get a better view of some of the other members. Just going to pull this little spider web off. There we go. We seem to be collecting spider webs as we drive through very open areas, so I think that we have a family of spiders that's living somewhere on the vehicle and being very cheeky and giving us little surprises on the lens. All right, now I believe it was Herbie who has something to show us, so let's head on over to him and I'll see if we can get a better view of this breeding herd in the meantime.
We have came across one of the most common trees or plants, the Devil Thorn. It's called the Devil Thorn because of the 2 thorns on its seeds. This is one of the favorite plants for the locals, especially the Shangans. They've been using these for years as a soap. How they do it, they will collect the leaves in a container, add some water for a day or 2, and when they are about to wash their cloth, they'll use the mixture to wash their cloth with. Or they can use the very same mixture as a shampoo substitute to clean their hair and to clean their hair. How they do it, they will just put it around the head and add some water. It works perfect. Trust me, if you collect this Devil Thorn to the locals and give it to the 70-year-old, he will or she would prefer to use these than the normal soap that we buy in the shops, because they've been using these for ages. And over here is the flower. When you walk in the bush, anything colorful is an indication of being poisonous. You need to stay away from it until you rub it against your skin. Over here, any negative response will indicate poison. Stay away from it. The seeds have got a very special way of moving from one area to another, or a special way of planting themselves under the ground. With the thorns, they will get stuck on the animal's hoof as they walk. Because it's so itchy, they carry poison. Once they start scratching themselves, it becomes loose and drops on the ground. And as they walk, they will cover it with sand, and when the first rain comes, they will start to germinate as well. And I think one of the animals, which I believe is a zebra, walked past here. Here is the evidence, the fur. I'm not sure if you'll be able to see it, but yeah, I think this is from a wildebeest. And over here is also evidence of wildebeest droppings. As I've said with the zebra, the sand is from the termites or the dung beetles. They will feed on the dung and also bury themselves underneath the dung. With dung, it's one of the evidence to guarantee that whatever animal you'll be looking for is there. So are the tracks. We'll just move around the quarantine. I know there's lots of interesting stuff around this. While we're doing that, we're gonna send you back to your lovely elephants.
Thanks, Herb. That zebra mane, or that zebra hair, I should say, sounded super interesting. I hope everyone enjoyed that. We found some of the breeding herd lurking in the back here, very quietly moving through, and of course, as we were talking about earlier, eating grass. And again, still trying to figure out, there must be at least some nutrients that are left in the roots of this grass, because to me it looks not tasty at all. We really, really, really need rain. See that? Especially on days like today where there was a nice little bit of cloud cover, and then all of a sudden the clouds move and then that sun comes out and it bakes everything very hard and very dry. It's very difficult for the grass to succeed that way when there's not enough water underneath. And this is similar to what happened the other year when we had that drought that didn't affect the leaves, but it affected the grass. So the elephants will be fine if we have a similar drought to that, because they can eat bark, and they can eat tubers, and they can eat roots, and they can also eat leaves. Something like those warthogs we saw earlier in the show will have a very hard time, and buffalo will have a hard time. The zebra will also have a hard time, unfortunately. But I'm still hopeful. It is only the end of January. Maybe February will just be filled with lots and lots and lots of rain. Alright, now Jamie's up in the Mara, and she has a beautiful elephant who's eating luscious green grass. So let's head on up to her so that you all can see the difference between the two ecosystems, one that has big rains and little rains, and us that has no rain currently.
I have a beautiful Ellie in beautiful green grass indeed. And while our afternoon was successful in terms of searching for lions, we have managed to spend plenty of time with elephants, and I for one am not going to complain. And I thought I might just let you have a few seconds of just enjoying the scene in peace, because I think you should be able to hear him tearing the grass up as well. Frogs bubbling in the background. Cassinas, bubbling cassinas. There's the striped swallows, which I'm not sure you can hear, but sound a little bit like R2-D2. and in this golden light it could not be more beautiful. Lovely. And it's not often still enough at this time in the afternoon for us to actually be able to share these sorts of sounds with you. The what's the word I'm looking for? Soundtrack, there we go, not backtrack, soundtrack of the background noises of the Mara. And somebody said grass, but I completely missed who it was because I was busy trying to figure out what the word is for the accompanying sounds that one hears. Oh God. He is loving grass though, and you have to admit, when you compare it to the grass behind him, you have to say it looks more appetizing. Now, Bobby, you say it looks like he's twisting the grass to get it out. That's pretty standard in the way that they pull up grass, particularly where it is well rooted. Oh, a gentle sound of a diesel engine to complete our soundtrack. So, I mean, it's the quickest way for him to break the grass. I mean, to pull straight up. Grass is surprisingly strong. I don't know if you've ever tried, I'm sure you have, pulling out clumps of grass. And it's actually pretty difficult. A little bit of a twist helps things along. Oh, interesting. Quite a dominant approach from that male elephant came in from behind. No really overt signs of aggression or anything like that. Just a little bit of intimidation when it comes to size. He's probably just a little bit older, not much. And of course he had the advantage of higher ground as well, which made his approach look more impressive. Elephants aren't terribly good at walking slowly against gravity. Now, Betty, you want to know why some elephants have whiter tusks than others. Betty, it all has to do with the type of toothpaste, and if I had to tell you which toothpaste it was, then I'd be in trouble for advertising. No, I'm joking. It just depends what the elephant's been doing on that particular day. So if they are... How are you? If they are... Have they been... Thank you. If they have been digging in the mud or something similar, then they will have muddier tusks. They might have been feeding off fresh, clean grass, which has washed all of the mud and wiped all of the mud away. They might have given them a wipe with their trunk. It's obviously got nothing to do with any kind of toothpaste, natural or otherwise. And there are certain ways of creating toothpaste out here. But far be it for me to even attempt to try and match Herbie's knowledge of the natural plants. Now, enjoying some really large animals in the afternoon light. Let's go across to Rolf, who has large animals, but not quite as large as these guys.
And very large they are indeed. A couple of very big buffalo bulls on their own. And look at that, one of the little oxpeckers having a dust bath just in front here. There we go. See that? Nice close-up of him, and he's calling the whole time. There he goes with his dust bathing. All about feather maintenance, that is. Also a little bit about the skin. It must be quite difficult for them to relieve themselves of an itch. So I think dust bathing is one of the ways that they use to help them sort of feel good on their skin, because with those feathers, you want to give yourself a scratch. But listen, he's still calling. I think he's calling for his friends, because he's all on his own. They're normally in quite large groups, but nice to be so close to buffalo. And don't get to see too many on Juma, so it's nice that we have a lot of them here in the Mara Triangle. And there's a lot of Dagga bulls or boys like this that are on their own, past their prime, being left behind by the herd, form these small little groups just to give them at least a few more eyes and ears, and it's like an old man's club. Now, Monique in London, you've asked if buffalo here in Kenya, when they pass their prime, are also called Daga boys. Monique, I think it might have been passed on from South Africa, but as far as I know, it is a Zulu or Xhosa word, which is of South African origin. They potentially have another name for it here. And Monique, I'm going to find out from the local Maasai people if they've got a special word for these Daga boys that we call here. And we've got a ranger on board. Let me just ask him, do you know what they call the males, the buffalo, that old males like this in Swahili? Nyati. Yeah, but Nyati is not the old one like this. The old one like this, you don't have a special name.
It is also called Nyati.
Okay, so he's saying, I don't know if he knows what I mean, but he's saying that they're called Nyati, but that is literally buffalo. So I'm going to delve a little bit deeper and chat with him, Monique, and see if we can get an answer out them. So everybody, it's been an absolutely wonderful afternoon, sunset safari here in the Maasai Triangle. We've seen all sorts of things, and thank you for joining us. It's about time for us to start heading up the escarpment and heading back towards camp, but we'll see you all again tomorrow for the sunrise safari once more. But we are going to be carrying on, well, you at least. I'm going to send you all the way back on down south to South Africa, where the sunset safari continues.
In the wild, it's all about competition. Not just Ralph, not Noel, finding Ellis. Hebi does trekking as well. It's so difficult sometimes to look for an elephant. You might think, looking at the size of the elephant, it's so easy to find the Ellis. Trust me, it's very difficult. It's like looking for the needle in the middle of the bush. But over there, there's some elephants. Quite difficult to see. I think we're about 100 meters away from them. You just see the movement. They are under the marula tree. I've seen them going at the base of the tree, collecting some marula fruits. Not a good view though. We'll try and approach slowly to get to the angle where we will get a good view of the elephants. I know it's too thick, but the wind is in our favor. We'll use that as an advantage, but still looking for the vantage point where we'll be trying to view them from for our own safety. They are at the base of the marula tree, picking up some berries. I've heard that when they eat these berries, elephants sometimes get drunk. Trust me, I've seen it many times. They don't get drunk simply because the temperature inside the elephant's stomach is too high. It won't allow the berries to ferment. It's just a myth. We'll approach slowly. I know this, I've seen some going into the drainage. While still busy following these Ellis, I'll send you back to Noel.
Here's your surprise. It's Mistress Tundi, and she's popped up here by Twin Dams. She went across Gowrie Main towards Chitwa Dam, and then through Little Gowrie, and then to Baboon Pan, and then up to us at Twin Dams. Now, where she's moving is going to be tricky for me to follow her through there. I want to quickly get up and around so we don't lose her. She's lactating quite heavily, so I do think that she's hunting a little bit, but sorry for the back of my head, everybody. But I also think that she might take us to where the cub is. This is going to be very bumpy, very tricky. Stand by one. There we go. Thank you for holding on, everybody. Now, there's a funny little spot that she can go through here, and I don't want to lose her too much, so I'm going to do a little bit of interesting driving, which means that Dobby's going to have to swivel around quite a bit. All right, everyone, here we go. I know how much you all love going through the bush. Let's go this way. Okay, so if you all can help keep your eyes open for me, and your eyes are obviously through Dobby's lens. So let's see if we can get her back again. She should be coming out just around here. So again, excuse the back of my head, but I don't want to miss her. And I also don't want to poke myself in the eye with a tree branch. Now, if I had to pick, I would actually have gone back in there, but it's a little bit too thick. So I'm having Dobby's doing an amazing job. He's sort of half standing, half crouching, checking everything. I'm trying not to push him off the back. I hear that you guys are all super excited. I'm also super excited. And I can hear some squirrels going. Now, the other difficult thing that Dobby and I are having to do right now with all of you as our extra eyes is drive into the sun, which makes lots of squinting happen, forms wrinkles, but I will take wrinkles on my face any day when they are a product of a beautiful cat like Tundi. Okay. So she should be just here. There she is. I've got her. She's right there. There she is. We've got her. All right, I'm just going to come back. So we were right with our direction, we were right with our assumptions, and now we'll be traveling with her not into the sun, thank goodness. So sorry, little tree. See, they bounce back up. We're not too bad, and we're gonna come around. She's gonna be over on this side now, on our right-hand side, our 3 o'clock. Remember, the front of the car is always 12. Yukon, you'd like to know if female leopard territories overlap. There she is. She's just poking her little head. There, she's just changed direction slightly. I'm gonna just come back a little bit and back a little bit more. She's changing direction again. Yukon, they do sometimes, in this particular scenario between Tundi and Shadow, because Karula passed away, they definitely do. And here she comes, everybody. She's gonna come nicely past these bushes and out into the open. I'm going to duck my head down. But unrelated females will not have overlapping territories, and honestly, I don't think Tundi and Shadow are happy to have any overlap in their territory at the moment. I think they both have youngsters, and I think it's a concern. There's our little Shadow first. Not Shadow the leopard, the Shadow of Tundi. There she comes. Hello, my girl. There you go, everybody. Oh, thank you, madam. And the tree squirrels going in the background, the only tree squirrels I've trusted all day long. Now, Madam Tundi, if you wouldn't mind taking us to your cute little cub, who I have not seen in a very long time. And for us right now, that's probably a week. And for any of our new viewers who maybe haven't seen her, what an amazing experience that will be. So we're going to stick with her as best we can. Excuse me, and I'm going to send you back to Herbie, who has elephants on foot.
We do, of course, have our elephants. We had a good visual, but unfortunately, they've decided to hide. We still have a visual of one elephant that is approaching the drainage line to the west of Quarantine. The elephants are breaking branches, feeding on them, going for grass, digging for bulbs. And when you come across elephants, you might think that they are destroying. Everyone accuses them of being destructive. Yes, they are destructive sometimes, but not always. Over here is evidence that elephants were in these leadwood before. This is not fresh, it's old. but the branch has been broken by an elephant. For them to break branches, it's not a form of distracting or destroying. They help other species that cannot reach the top part of these trees, especially the browsers. It gives them a good advantage for them to pick up all the bits and pieces that have been left by the elephants. So in this case, they will also create the seed banks for birds and also shelter for some of these smaller animals. And while we're still here, over there, that's evidence that the elephants were here as well in this big marula tree. They've taken off the bark, but luckily, marula trees is one of the trees that will recover very quickly. It might take some time, but at the end, it will end up covering the whole damage. As you can see here, the whole part was taken away. As you can see here, it's dry already, but the tree has managed to cover itself again, which is good. So locals, if they get a cut, they'll come and peel off the bark and boil and cover the wound with the cambium layer, which is the inside part of the tree. And they believe by so doing, the wound will recover very quickly. And over here, as I said, when elephants destroy, they create home for many. This is an Uthika. I think it's still active. It's a home for something.